Hello and welcome back to the Soccer Brothers Podcast. This is episode number 45. I'm your host, Sahil. As always, I'm joined by my brother, Nihal. How you doing, Nihal?
I'm doing really well, man. It was a really exciting and great weekend of soccer, and I'm super pumped to talk about it.
But before we talk about soccer, let's talk about the soccer-themed clothing brand named Ambitious Strike.
Yep, Ambitious Strike has some really, really cool clothing. Make sure to go check them out. The link to the website is in the description. The website is ambitiousstrike.com. And don't forget to use the code BROTHERS at checkout for a 15% off discount on your entire order.
Yes, definitely go check them out. So, on Saturday, May 28th, the U.S. played Bolivia in their last friendly prior to the Copa America Centenario, which is going to be a huge competition for them, as we talked about in previous episodes. And they played in Kansas City in Children's Mercy Park, and we played a pretty good game and ended up winning 4-0.
Yeah, there are a lot of encouraging signs, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. That being said, this is a team that has won one match under their new coach, who was appointed on August 28th of 2015. They're 1-6 since then. They're towards the bottom of CONMEBOL qualifying. This is not a very good team. This is not the Bolivia of the 1990s. So, although it was a really good win and there were a lot of encouraging signs, I wouldn't really read into this too much, except for how we played and what formation we used and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This does not mean we're going to go on and win the entire competition and beat everyone 3-0.
Yeah, no.
So I don't want to be like a downer because I was very, very excited and encouraged by the performance. Even though we had difficulty actually streaming the match because we were at some family event, and it was not everyone has Fox Sports 1 apparently. So it was very, very exciting.
Yeah,
it was a good.
We were those people who were on the corner with our laptops while everyone else was talking. But some things are more important than family, and that's soccer. No, but so we lined up in a 4-3-3. Our back line was really interesting because we saw Beezer at left back, the same two center backs as the last game, and we had Roscoe.
No, Jeff Cameron didn't play in the last game.
Oh no, right. That was
Steve Birnbaum.
Yeah. And then we played three in the midfield again. Michael Bradley this time, though, playing the deeper role in the midfield, and Jones and Bedoya played ahead of him.
Yeah.
And the front three was Wood on the left wing, Dempsey at center forward or striker, and Jossie was on the right wing.
Yeah, we saw the 4-3-3 again, which is something we've seen in 3 straight matches now against Guatemala at home. Well, actually, no, we didn't see it against Puerto Rico. So 3 out of the last 4 matches. We saw it against Guatemala at home, against Ecuador, and now against Bolivia. And it's interesting that you made the mistake about Cameron and Brooks. That was actually the second time Cameron and Brooks have played together. The last time was against Bosnia and Herzegovina in that friendly. So
wait, like 2013?
Yeah, or at least they started together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so as a center back partnership.
Yeah.
So it's great for them to get acclimated to each other. Matt Beezer at left back, I thought he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. He's someone I said might be a left back option. I've said that a couple of times on this podcast. At least, in my opinion, I thought Jurgen Klinsmann would use him there. Orozco has played right back before, so he gets a run out. Timmy Chandler was injured, and Edgar Castillo, I don't think was even in camp yet because he was competing for the Liga MX final. So really, it was down to giving Fabian Johnson and DeAndre Yedlin a break. That's why we saw those 2 fullbacks. But not terrible there. But this is a very, very encouraging lineup. I think the front, everyone ahead of them, and the center back partnership, he got right. Klinsmann. I would have liked to see Nagbe over Jones maybe, and Pulisic over Zardes. But you know what? I don't think that's going to happen, at least for the first match in the Copa America. And I'm okay with that. Having Pulisic and Nagbe come off the bench can be very, very excellent. And then even 5th in the pecking order is Beckerman, who's a very, very solid player. So to have all those options is fantastic. And, it's great to have that deep of a midfield going into a tournament like this.
Yeah. All right, let's break down each goal, then we'll get into more our opinions and analysis of the match.
All right.
So in the 26th minute, we saw Zardes score. Cameron made a run-up from the back line, and then he gave it to Dempsey, who made a nice one-touch pass to Bedoya, who played a nice through ball over the top into Zardes, who had a nice one-touch finish. I said nice a lot.
Yeah, well, you did. It's okay. It was all nice. So Dempsey drops into the midfield, which is something we saw all day, really. Like you said, lays it off to Bedoya. Bedoya, a nice pass to Zardes. Zardes has to get himself back on side, but then he does, and then is able to finish past Bolivia's keeper. Really a well-worked goal, and a product of what Klinsmann was trying to do tactically. And I thought that in and of itself is really, really encouraging. The fact that we had an idea of what we wanted to do, the fact that Zardes sort of knew what he was doing, I think is really encouraging. And that was all apparent in that first goal.
Yeah. Then in the 37th minute, Bradley caught the Bolivia defense off track, or pretty much the whole team since it was a set piece, when he played a nice through ball off the free kick into Bedoya, who crossed it and squared it to Brooks.
Yeah, so the second assist for Bedoya on the second goal. Once again, it's Clint Dempsey dropping back into midfield, getting fouled, which forces the free kick. Bradley with a wonderful, wonderful through ball. Obviously, of course, we missed in real time. We missed it because Fox has to zoom in on all the players. I don't like all these camera angles in all these different sports.
Yeah,
but it was a great pass. Bedoya with not sure if he was really aiming for Brooks there, but it doesn't matter. Brooks is able to tuck it home. Yeah.
Either way, though, I mean, Bedoya's been playing really unselfishly.
Yeah, he's been playing really, really well too in the center of the park.
Yeah. And then after halftime in the 52nd minute, we saw Zardes score. Zardes was on the wing, and then he played it into Bradley in the center, who played a really good through ball over the top into Wood, who did a nice job of keeping it in play and crossing it into Zardes, who scored.
Yeah, Wood had not a great touch. He had to sort of recover from it, but was able to keep it in play, as you said. Shuffled it across the box, slid it across the box, and Zardes was able to finish. Another really, really well-worked goal. And that's a product of Dempsey playing D-mid, a wonderful, wonderful chipped ball by Bradley. And that's something that's in his game. That's one of the best things he does. And I talked about it on the last podcast against Ecuador, how immediately when he switched to D-mid, his first ball was a deep chipped ball to Bobby Wood in like the 46th minute. So very, very exciting, very encouraging there.
Yeah, and then the last goal was, I think, a moment that every U.S. soccer fan appreciated. It was Christian Pulisic, the youngest American scorer in the modern era, I guess, when they started keeping track of these things. And it was a nice goal. So basically, Jones had a very nice slide tackle that fell to Nagbe. Nagbe passed it back to Jones. Then it went back to Nagbe in a nice 1-2. And he laid it off laterally to Pulisic, and Pulisic did the right job and scored.
And I think Nagbe's patience in that entire play was so impressive. When he was looking for Jones, he got it through there. His run through the Bolivian defense was excellent. And then he got the ball back. He didn't panic. He didn't lay it off to Wood, who was making a run to his left. He waited for Pulisic to get open. And Pulisic slots it home. Actually, I think it was Wando who was making the other run. No. Who was it? Maybe Dempsey? I don't know who it was. It was someone making a run on the left. And then Pulisic sort of peels off to the right. Does a Dwight Freeney spin. And is able to slot it home. A very cool and composed finish.
Yeah, and I loved his celebration, too. He just celebrated right away. And, I don't know. And we saw Wood celebrate before the goal even went in. Yeah. But, I mean, overall, it was a pretty good game. We saw some pretty positive signs, even though I think you and I wanted both Pulisic and Nagbe to start.
Yeah.
But why don't we get into a new segment that we have, our 3 things that we learned from the match.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the first thing, I guess, which ties into what I was just saying is I don't think Nagbe has to be a starter for this team. I think it's a nice change-up, what he brings, and you definitely saw that in the second half, scoring only like 10, maybe less than 10 minutes, or not scoring, but, providing the assist to Pulisic on that goal. And I had no problem with the way our midfield was working in the first half. Jermaine Jones did impress me a lot. Yeah. I mean, he even played well once Nagbe came on, and Nagbe sitting in the 6 role was really the key, I think, for the midfield. And
Bradley, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, Bradley. And yeah, I don't think that he needs to be a starter for us to be successful.
Yeah, I do think we're a better team with him on the field. That being said, I think I agree with you, and I don't think Jurgen Klinsmann's going to start him come Colombia. We were watching his Facebook Live video. He does those from time to time, and he says, Nagbe continues to do well, continues to impress, but the fans have to think about how someone has to not play in order for Nagbe to play. I mean, yes, we know. We think of that. But, that being said, he's right. Because Jermaine Jones and Bedoya and Bradley, they're all playing well. Jermaine Jones is not the player he used to be, but I agree with you. I think having Nagbe off the bench can be really, really vital, and even being able to swap them in and out between matches is vital because it's 3 games in like 9 days or 10 days. So,
and I'll say this: I would definitely rather see Nagbe coming off the bench as a midfielder than starting as a winger. I think
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. And I'd rather see him than mixed discredited. So
definitely, yeah. He didn't even make the roster.
I know. We're winning all around. All right, so mine, sort of tying into what you just said, is Bradley must play defensive mid. That is his best position. That's where he's been playing for Toronto. As I was saying, it gives him the whole match is in front of him. He can do those on the ground through balls like we saw in the free kick. He can do that during the match. He can do those chip through balls. He's able to win the ball defensively, and he provides something that Kyle Beckerman doesn't have. He can pass with both feet. He has the chip through ball in his arsenal, which I don't think Beckerman has. And he's a much more positive player from defensive mid than Kyle Beckerman is. And I don't want to hate on Kyle Beckerman because I think he's been a great player for the U.S. national team, and he's vital in what he does. But Bradley is just better for this 4-3-3.
I agree with you, and I think what everyone has to understand is that those Jeff Cameron, that Zardes' first goal, Jeff Cameron passing it straight to Dempsey in the attack, that's not really going to be able to happen against the better teams and the better opposition that we come up against. So you're going to need a defensive midfielder who is willing to get it forward in one touch and just look forward because a lot of times Becker's just playing it back, as you said.
And when you have 3 players close together like Brooks, Cameron, and Bradley, with Bradley defensive mid and those 2 at center back, I mean, those are 3 players who are comfortable passing the ball and comfortable on the ball. And that is where we can see a transition to the type of soccer Jurgen Klinsmann promised and the type of soccer that we as fans want to see, right? So my first thing we learned is Bradley must play defensive mid.
All right, and my second thing that I learned was that Zardes works better with a striker playing the false 9. And we also saw this in the last game, but I think the reason that we saw a really good game and a brace from Zardes in this game is because when he's playing out wide, he as we were talking about before, Finley plays direct. Zardes is allowed to play more direct like that since Dempsey's sending these lobbed through balls and balls through, and Zardes doesn't need to rely on his composure and first touch as much when he's just shooting it off his first touch or he's in that central position. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's the one thing he's good at, getting in behind. And as you said, and I think having Dempsey as that sort of withdrawn forward allows him to do that, as you said. And I agree with that. I would agree with that, especially, I would maybe amend it to say Zardes works better with a false 9 when he's playing on the wing. I don't think he would be a terrible false 9 himself.
Oh, yeah. That's not what I meant.
Yeah. But, I agree with you. And I think that's why it's vital to have players like Wood and Zardes, 2 strikers by trade, really, making those runs, making those smart runs, and it really works in the formation Klinsmann's trying to play. And that sort of goes into my second thing I learned, which is Klinsmann maybe knows what he's doing. He's been criticized a lot for his tactical ineptness, his lack of tactical awareness, and we had a plan. We're using this 4-3-3. We have Dempsey dropping into midfield. We have Zardes and Wood making these runs. We have Bradley looking for balls over the top. Jermaine Jones has a defined role now, which he's good at, running up and down the field, breaking up play, making the passes he needs to play, picking it up from Bradley when he wants to. We have 2 center backs who can play with their feet. Orozco and Beasler, he was just giving people a rest, but when Yedlin and Fabian Johnson come on, they're attacking fullbacks. But they defend when they need to, except for maybe the one exception, which we saw. Bedoya, also all over the pitch. Everyone has a role, and they know what they're doing, which is really, really exciting, especially in light of last year, where really no one knew what they were doing. But, it's just, I'm so encouraged, and that's what makes me optimistic. Not the result, but the fact that everyone had a defined role and they knew what they were doing. And
but I mean, I don't think that's to say that I hate to say this, but I don't know. We might not see Bradley in a defensive midfield role against Colombia.
No, we might.
Because we've seen Klinsmann not learn from his friendlies, and play something that doesn't work. So, I mean, it's great that everyone looked like they knew what they were doing, but it's the man who organizes the formation before the match that actually is going to matter, you know?
Right. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping someone like Andy Herzog maybe got to him. But, you know, I hope we see more of this, and I hope we just use this formation for the next 2 years, to be honest. But, you know, we saw Klinsmann in that Facebook Live video, the live stream. Again, he was saying, you know, a lot of it depends on what the opponent is doing. So that makes me think he's, you know, we might go with a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1 or 4-5-1 against Colombia, a more defensive formation. But
I mean, yeah,
I'm optimistic.
What did you think of when we switched into the 4-5-1 versus Bolivia? What did you think of it?
I didn't really like it. So what Sahil is talking about is when Wandos and Zusi came on. Jones was playing sort of that central midfield general. Nagby on left tucked in, Zusi right tucked in, Pulisic in front of them as the number 10, and Wood and Wando in front of them. You know, I think Pulisic is a number 10, maybe that's what he's best at. But right now, I think he's a better winger. I don't know if that makes sense. I think for this team, he's a winger. He sort of has to develop his game more to be an effective 10 at this level. That being said, we didn't see a whole lot of it. You know, I don't really know what to think. That's sort of what we saw against Puerto Rico, and I didn't really like it, but I think it might have its merits. I wouldn't really call it a 4-5-1. That's a 4-3-1-2, or a 4-4-2 diamond dish.
Oh, yeah, it's not a 4-5-1.
Yeah, because we have two strikers up top. Yeah. So, not a huge fan of it, but, you know, it's good to have that sort of versatility where the players know what they're doing. I just don't... I think the 4-3-3 with Dempsey playing the more withdrawn forward is the way to go right now.
Yeah.
Especially to get the best out of Dempsey and to have him on the pitch.
Yeah. And Pulisic, I think there was a clear, like... I mean, maybe it's because he hasn't played as much in that role, but, I mean, he just didn't look as comfortable as he did out wide.
Right. Number 3 thing you learned.
So the third thing I learned, and I guess you touched on this, but you might disagree with me here, is that after Yedlin and Fabian Johnson came on, I thought maybe we looked too attacking and there were some holes in the defense. And that might not necessarily come into play versus Bolivia, but like when there's people finishing, and you said this, like if that's Cuadrado with that Fabian Johnson lapse in the defense in the second half, then it's probably a goal. Yeah. So... I mean, I don't think there's any other way to do it, really, because I don't know if I don't want Biesler and Orozco really playing as our fullbacks, but...
So, I mean, the other option...
Fabian on the wing.
Fabian on the wing instead of Zardes or Wood.
Castillo.
And then Castillo at left back. But then you still have an attacking left back.
Yeah.
We don't really have a defensive left. We don't have, like, a Tim Ream on this roster. We do have Matt Biesler, so... You know, I don't know if I think... I mean, I agree with you in a sense, but I think that's something that's on Klinsmann. So he has to make sure his team knows what he's doing when when one of them makes a run, Fabian or Yedlin, the other one stays back. Or Bradley drops back into maybe a 3 with Brooks and Cameron. But, you know, on that play, everyone except for on the play you're talking about where Bolivia was straight through, everyone was forward. Cameron was forward. He's the one who made a bad pass. Yedlin was forward trying to win the ball back, and Fabian was up on the other side. I don't know why. He looked pretty slow coming back. It is a concern, but that's the price you have to pay when you're trying to play like this. So, do you think... So you said they're too attacking. Do you think we shouldn't play that, or this is just the best case?
No. I said, I mean, that's just kind of the risk that comes with this. I think it's better to play proactive than rely on set pieces or whatever else we used to do.
Okay. And then, so let's go to my third thing that I learned. The third thing that I learned is Zardes has a good first touch when he's finishing. So it's something that we've criticized Zardes for, that everyone and their mother has criticized Zardes for, is his lack of first touch. Twice in this match, his first touch led to goals. And as you said, that's a product of Dempsey playing that withdrawn forward, and people getting balls into him on the run where he can finish. Because, you know, although he's not maybe a world-class or elite finisher, he is a calm finisher. And he can get the job done, you know, and it somehow works. And he's with this match, in this match, he sort of secured a starting lineup a spot in the starting lineup. And he has to continue to do what he does. Hopefully his touch will improve in the next couple of years and before this tournament, if that's possible. But, I'm not as down on Zardes as I was before this match, but I still don't think he's a better player than Pulisic right now. So,
yeah, and neither do I. I definitely can agree with that. Obviously, with when Altidore comes back after the Copa America and for the Hex, I mean, I guess that's hard to think about, but I don't know if Zardes will be as effective as he was in this game or really throughout these string of friendlies.
I think what's going to happen and what should happen is we play the same formation and we play Altidore or Dempsey on the wing. I think that's what happens. We saw Josie Altidore play left wing for... I know you're giving me that look, but we saw Josie Altidore play left wing for AZ Alkmaar. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be against giving it a shot, or we just drop Josie Altidore.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just put him on the bench. He's clearly, I think, a better change-up than Wando.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Wando's one job is to finish in the box, and versus Bolivia, I think Wood crossed it in. It was just like an easy opportunity to score, and he just missed it. That was in between it. Okay.
No, he's got to score though.
Yeah. I mean, I like Wando.
I'm not going to judge his tournament.
San Jose.
I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge his tournament until he comes on and misses a shot in the tournament. Then I'll be done with him.
But we're talking about Altidore.
Yeah, but Altidore's way in the future. He's not the player he used to be. He's injured all the time.
So let me ask you this: we come into the 4-3-3. We use basically the same lineup except Fabian and Yedlin around the fullbacks. Maybe even throw Nagby in there in the midfield instead of Jones, and we get 4 goals, 3 goals conceded on us Colombia. Do you want Klinsmann to change that ahead of Costa Rica?
No.
Or no?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. That's sort of growing pains. It's a possibility. I really don't think that's going to happen because I think Fabian Johnson and DeAndre Yedlin are going to be more disciplined. I think when you come onto a match that's already 2-0, and in that point it's 3-0, you have so much open space. It's easy to maybe fall into that lull that Fabian Johnson did. If you're playing against Colombia and James Rodriguez, Carlos Baca, Juan Cuadrado, all these guys are coming at you constantly.
Yeah,
you're more likely to stay in position. Fabian Johnson stayed in position against Mexico. He was playing right back, right? It's something he can do. He did it the entire tournament in the World Cup. He's an attacking player, but I have confidence. And Yedlin had to, with Sunderland, stay in a defensive position. I mean, that's what he did. He was not an attacking fullback for Sunderland. These guys know what they're doing. I think really, it's a product of coming into the game, seeing that open field ahead of you, seeing how easy the game has been for the United States, and sort of having that lapse. Now, I'm not saying that's excusable. It's not.
I think one of the issues, maybe it's an issue, but who is Yedlin's competition right now at right back?
Well, Michael Orozco. I think if he can't play, if he's injured, I think Fabian Johnson shifts to right back and Edgar Castillo plays at left back. Steve Birnbaum has played right back before the United States. Jeff Cameron can play right back, and Steve Birnbaum can come in at center back. Yedlin doesn't have much competition on the U.S. national team, but he shouldn't. He's far and away the best right back we have.
Yeah.
I mean, he played consistently for Sunderland in the second half of the season. He was a big part.
Would you take him at right back, or if we switched things around and played maybe Cameron at right back, or...
No, I would... Yedlin.
Really? Okay.
Why would I take Cameron at right back?
I guess it's situational. I mean, Cameron's played full seasons with Stoke at right back, right?
I just don't think he's that... Yeah, but I just don't... He's a better center back. I don't... Why? This is our best back line we've had in years.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean... I would take Yedlin at right back, but...
I mean, if we can get a real left back before the next cycle, that would be wonderful. If Edgar Castillo maybe continues to play well and...
I just don't expect the cleanest tournaments out of DeAndre Yedlin in this one.
This is his first tournament.
He played in the World Cup.
Yeah, no, I know, but this is his first tournament after a full season with an English Premier League club. He didn't have that defensive discipline before. We know that. He has that discipline now. He played for a Sam Allardyce team. Sam Allardyce doesn't give a rat's ass about developing young players. It's about surviving. And if he picks you, that means you're better than anyone else on the team. And he was clearly better than Billy Jones. And he played well at that right back position. And like I said, he's a big reason why they stayed up. And I won't be surprised if Yedlin, transfers to Sunderland full time. I hope he maybe moves to a more mid-table club. So, he's not fighting relegation and he can express himself a little bit more. But, I don't think it's fair to say you don't expect Yedlin to have a clean tournament when he hasn't gone into a tournament with this much experience. 2014 World Cup, he played like one season for Seattle. He was a rookie. 2015 Gold Cup, he finished off the season with Seattle, went to Spurs and made one appearance. Now he's played a full season with Sunderland. And his defensive positioning is much better. We saw it against Ecuador.
Yeah.
He does make some mistakes. But every fullback makes this. Danny Alves makes mistakes. Zabaleta makes mistakes.
I'm not really concerned with the marking aspect, more as like him making mistakes upfield and then it leading to a counterattack. And he has the speed to get back and everything. We'll see.
That's valid.
I think it's good that he's playing in the Premier League. Because other teams or other leagues might encourage him to get forward, and he might not have been able to learn or improve his defensive skill set as much as he has.
Yeah.
And he's had to handle physicality and everything else that the Premier League offers. So I think it's good. I don't know. I think he might be the second or third fourth, maybe weakest position on the team going into the tournament.
Really? I disagree. I think I'm really secure with Leandre Yedlin as a right back. I think it's the best right back we've had since Steve Trundle starting a match. I would take DeAndre Yedlin now over Fabian Johnson at the 2014 World Cup, mostly because Fabian Johnson could play a different position. But I think I'm really secure in this with him there.
Okay, wait. So who are you most uncomfortable with?
In order, Zardes, Fabian Johnson at left back.
Really?
I would say, yeah, well, I'm just a little nervous about it.
Okay.
And probably Brad Guzan worries me the most. Because he's had a couple of good matches, but, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I said third or fourth.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe you're right. The other one is Kyle Beckerman if he starts.
Kyle Beckerman should not start. Klinsmann has learned nothing if he doesn't start Michael Bradley in that position. Sorry, okay.
No, you're right. No, but I agree with you. Going back to the original point, Yedlin losing the ball upfield, it's a possibility, But I'm confident with him at right back. I really am. You don't have to be. If you disagree with us, let us know. Yeah. Send it an email to SoccerBrothersPodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. What positions are you most worried about? We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have more of an in-depth preview on the Colombia match and the Copa America in general. But, yeah, that's as far as we'll go into Colombia. Now, let's go over to the Champions League final, which happened on the same day earlier at 2:45. It was Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid in the San Siro. It ended up being a 1-1 draw, because it's technically a draw, that led to a win in penalty kicks for Real Madrid.
Yeah, it was not a super exciting... I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it, but I guess objectively not a super exciting match.
I think it was pretty, Derby-esque. You could kind of see the emotion and intensity, and there was some physicality and some late challenges. And I think if you read the narratives and the background behind the whole thing and the coaching and whatever, I think it made it interesting. Just as a game, the quality on the field didn't look like that amazing. But
like I said, I enjoyed it. I was rooting for Atletico Madrid. I picked Atletico Madrid to win. Unfortunately, Real Madrid wins 5-3 in penalties.
Yeah. So for the first goal, Sergio Ramos, it was a free kick for Real Madrid, and Cruz sends in a ball, a good header with the back of Bale's head that goes into the box. It falls to Sergio Ramos. He gets a slight touch on it and puts it past Oblak and makes it 1-0. But the thing that everyone debates is that was Sergio Ramos offside, and did Sergio Ramos even touch it? But it would be obstruction even if it was offside, right?
I think he was slightly off. He also did touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do now. I think what's interesting to me is the game plan for Atleti was to press. That's what they've been doing, to sort of push Real Madrid out wide. What happened here was Pepe actually sent a long ball forward, and they bypassed the midfield. Real Madrid were able to win a free kick, and that's what led to this goal. So, Zidane was able to combat that with those long balls, or with that long ball at least, and it worked well. And just earlier, a little bit earlier, Oblak had made a great save to prevent it from being 1-0 to Real Madrid. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do much here. Real Madrid go up 1-0 early on, and it really changed the tactical landscape of the game going forward.
Yeah, I think in the first half, we expected to see a lot better chemistry from Torres and Griezmann. Like what Isa was saying before when we were previewing this match was that Griezmann would, overlap Torres, and Torres would be the hold-up man. But it didn't look like Griezmann really made that many runs. He kind of got the ball, and was just taking shots from outside the penalty area.
Yeah, and I think, exactly. They didn't do that well together. The other thing is, once Real Madrid scores this goal, they sort of go back into a defensive shape and let Atletico attack. There was that 15-minute period where they had 62% possession. That's not something Atletico Madrid is used to. That's not the game. That was not their game plan. So credit to Zinedine Zidane for making them play this more defensive formation. It allowed Casemiro to be less. It gave Casemiro less pressure. It also allowed Ronaldo and Bale to be more counterattacking players. It didn't really work that much because the forwards seemed to be isolated, but defensively it did work. They sort of stifled Atletico Madrid, at least until halftime. After halftime, Atletico Madrid changed that 4-5-1, or the 4-1-4-1, with Saul as the holding mid, Koke and Gabi in front of them. Griezmann shifted to right wing. Carrasco came on at left wing, who was phenomenal in this match, and Fernando Torres was up top alone. Sort of this allowed them to press a little bit more evenly while having Saul back to stop counterattacks. And they were able to win the ball off a couple of times, create a couple of good chances, including the first penalty that Antoine Griezmann smashed off the crossbar. And really, Atletico Madrid started to dominate the second half. Eventually, they score a goal through Carrasco. A great cross from Juan Fran.
And even before that, the ball from Gabi over the top to Juan Fran was a good ball.
Yeah. And it was like Michael Bradley.
Exactly. It would be Saul playing that from farther out if it was Michael Bradley.
That's true. It was great. And then a great one-time cross and a good finish from Carrasco to finish it off. And then he goes and makes out with his girlfriend on the sideline. So, I think it's unfortunate that Atletico Madrid did not win this in full time. I thought in the second half they were the better team. They had more opportunities, but Real Madrid did have a plan. Zinedine Zidane didn't know what he was doing, playing that more defensive soccer, and it really stifled Atletico Madrid. They didn't really know what to do. They ran out of ideas at some points. But Carrasco by himself created a lot of opportunities for Atletico. And maybe they should have scored a second goal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think overall the front three, specifically Ronaldo, disappointed me a little bit throughout the course of this match.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit better in extra time for some reason, even though he would have been,
I mean, I think he wasn't fully 100%. I think taking Benzema off, putting Ronaldo up top, and bringing on Vasquez was a mistake. I really do. Vasquez was the one who was sort of suspect on Carrasco's goal. He sort of let Carrasco behind. Maybe that doesn't happen if Benzema's still in the game and Vasquez isn't. No Jesse Rodriguez and no James Rodriguez in this match. So, interesting.
Yeah. And then in extra time, obviously, the score was 1-1 going into extra time, and there was no goals or anything. You could tell that both teams... I feel like usually there aren't goals in extra time.
No. I mean, except in the World Cup, they happen. There was nothing really happened in extra time. No clear-cut chances for either team that I can recall.
And then in penalties, it was tied up at... I think both teams made 3 penalties.
Yeah.
And then Juan Fran came up and
Real Madrid made the fourth.
Oh, yeah. Real Madrid. So then, yeah, at that point, Atletico Madrid had to go ahead and tie it 4-4. Then Juan Fran missed it, hit it off the crossbar.
Hit the post.
Was it the post?
Yeah, it was the left post.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was on the ground. It was on the ground.
We're going to have to look at that again.
Okay.
But, yeah, and then, so he didn't have to make Navas do anything. And then Ronaldo took, he said he wanted to take the fifth penalty. He had a good feeling that he was going to be the one to win it, and then he did, as he caught Oblak.
Yeah, see, Juan Fran missed it on the ground. It hit the left post. But yeah, Ronaldo, a good penalty kick. Apparently he had a vision in which he was going to score the game-winning penalty kick, which is why he chose to go fifth. Not really the reason why Real Madrid won. He scored a penalty kick just like everyone else. Took that shirt off in record time. I even said...
No, yeah.
Yeah, I said...
I thought it too.
Right beforehand, Real Madrid, he's going to take off his shirt if he wins. And it was off in seconds.
I feel like the celebration was kind of underwhelming, though.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
or maybe we just want Atletico Madrid to win it.
So it's their 11th Champions League ho-hum.
Crazy.
But unfortunately, penalty shootouts kind of suck. They're exciting, but they kind of suck. But congratulations to Real Madrid. 11 Champions Leagues or European Cups. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And this team...
Sorry, I'm just looking at Juan Fran's face right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just he played a decent game. He had an assist, and it's just... But he's going to be remembered as, the guy who missed the penalty. Yeah. It's just sad.
So it's really, really unfortunate. I was really, really pulling for Atletico.
But we'll just have to wait from 2 years from now when...
Well,
it's Christian Pulisic leading the forwards for Real Madrid.
Oh, for Real Madrid.
No, it's Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid again.
Well,
every 2 years.
Speaking of that... 2 questions. Will Zinedine Zidane stay on? Or will they hire someone else and, have Zinedine Zidane get experience elsewhere? I think you keep Zidane. He turned around the season. He got them to a point where they finished below Barcelona by 1 point in the league. He won the Champions League. I think you keep him. He did well. Also, is Diego Simeone leaving? Rumors that he is leaving. Unless the Atletico board step it up. Although Atletico spent the 4th most this past summer.
Because he wants to leave, right?
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to leave.
I don't know. I've just always been fascinated with the Diego Simeone Atletico Madrid. I want to see it continue.
I do too, unless he comes to Everton, which is fantasy land. But you never know.
Nihal sees a report and then he.
Well, I get excited about that stuff. I think the much more possible destination is Inter Milan. I'm sure you don't want to see that. But we'll see what happens with those two.
And I mean, to your point about Zinedine Zidane, I absolutely agree. It was a complete turnaround from what Rafa Benitez did. Just the results, and I don't have the numbers right now, but I definitely know that there were not that many games that he drops points in, and he ended up making it really close for Barcelona to win that La Liga title. 1 point, right? Yeah. So I think Zinedine Zidane should stay, and I think he can do a good job with this team in the future. Real Madrid, I think, is going to have to make some changes though with their lineup over the summer.
I think so too. We'll see. I think James Rodriguez is on his way out. Maybe he'll come to Everton. I'm joking.
I want to see him. I don't know
where he'd go. Probably
go to PSG.
Maybe Manchester United. I don't know. But yeah, the summer should be exciting. The club season's over. Other stuff happened too.
Tipoligan's still going on.
Yeah, that's true. MLS is still going on.
Yeah.
Pachuca won the Liga MX title this weekend. Hull City back in the Premier League after winning the championship playoff. Exciting times for them. So yeah, I mean, we're not going to go into those, but it was a great weekend of soccer. But it's going to be an even crazier summer of soccer. We have the Copa America, we have the Euros, we have the Olympics for the men and the women, not the U.S. men, but just the men. And then we also have MLS going on all the way through that. So it's going to be a very, very exciting summer. We're going to try to step up our game. We're going to have more podcasts per week. we'll both be out of school eventually. We'll be able to actually rewatch the games and stuff. We do in bits and pieces. We do go back and rewatch a lot of the game, but it's hard to because we're sitting here. It's 1 a.m. You have school tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
So this summer, we're very, very excited. But yeah. Before we leave, let's talk about Ambitious Strike one more time. Sal, take it away.
Yes, as we said before, Ambitious Strike is a soccer-themed clothing brand. They've got great merchandise. If you want to check out Ambitious Strike, go to ambitiousstrike.com. If you want a 15% discount on your entire purchase, enter the code BROTHERS at checkout.
Yep, the link to that is always in the description. All right, anything else?
Also in our description, you'll have links to our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook. Go check us out, support us there. We should be having more updates actually on the games as we get less busy, because we've done a poor job at that as of late. And, there's plenty of places to check us out: iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. So, keep on listening, tell your friends. Yeah,
exactly. Check us out. And stay tuned for the next episode of the Soccer Brothers Podcast, episode 46. We are interviewing Tom Marshall this week, as I mentioned last time, to preview the Mexican national team and the Copa America a little bit more in depth. We're very, very excited about that. We still haven't decided if we're going to have 2 separate episodes this week leading up to Colombia or just one full, long episode. If you have any input, let us know. But we'll probably decide that by tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Make sure to check us out on iTunes, as Sahil said. Rate, subscribe, do all that stuff. We will see you guys next time for episode 46 of the Soccer Brothers Podcast.
See you guys.